What is semantic HTML? Why should you use semantic HTML? How do you know if you are currently using semantic HTML? In this video, I want to walk through a brief explanation of what semantic HTML is and how you can check how it's used, if it's used, on your website. The basic idea here is that some HTML tags have a more descriptive meaning than others. A lot of websites wrap their content in a div tag, but the div is generic. It doesn't really communicate anything about what content is contained in this tag. It doesn't say how this tag fits into the page. To add more meaning, you can instead wrap your content in a main tag. And this clearly communicates what this content is, that this is the page's main content. Here are some common semantic tags to keep in mind and think about. We have H1 to H6. These are heading tags, and these establish a clear visual and logical hierarchy for your content. H1 is the title of the page, H2 is the subhead, H3 is the sub-subhead, and on, all the way down to H6. Next, we have figure and fig caption. These are used for images, diagrams, or charts, along with their captions, right, in the fig caption attribute. And that's a lot clearer because it's saying this is a figure or this is the figure's caption. We have header. Header represents the introductory content, which contains navigation links and the logo and all that type of information at the top of a web page. We have nav, so nav defines a set of navigation links. Main tag, which I previously mentioned, it contains the primary content of the document, and this should only be used once per page. We then have article, so article represents a self-contained part of the page, like a blog post or a news article might be. Then we have footer. So footer defines a footer for a document or for a section. And typically this contains copyright information or contact details, site links, that kind of stuff. There's other tags, but those are some of the main ones to keep in mind. Now, the next question I want to talk about is how do you check if you're using semantic HTML tags on your website? And there's many ways you can do this. One of the simplest methods is you can view your website's source code. So if you're in Google Chrome, press the F12 key to open up DevTools. On DevTools, click Elements. This will show you the website's HTML code used for your website. Hit Control F to search through this code. Search for some of the tags listed above. So search for header, search for main, search for section, and so on. If they're found, hover over that tag so that way Chrome highlights that part of the page. And as you go through and as you start looking at your code and you see what's coming up as you're searching through things, you can evaluate if that seems like an appropriate usage. Is your header tag actually around the header part of your page? Or is your header tag used around the middle part of your page, right? You can kind of get a sense of, is this used in the right spot? Next question is, why would you bother using semantic HTML? You can build out a fully functional site without any of these semantic tags at all. Divs work to build out a site. You don't need semantic HTML. Here's a few things to keep in mind. First is that website accessibility is the biggest and most important benefit. Screen readers, which are used by people with visual impairments, rely heavily on semantic HTML to navigate and understand a website. And when you're using semantic HTML tags, you're helping make it easier for these assistive technologies. In that same vein, with that same kind of mindset, agentic AI visitors are also some type of automated technology using your website. And these visitors need to figure out how to use the website. And they'll have an easier time using your website with cleaner HTML structures, right? They'll have a better sense figuring out, oh, this is the navigation that I can use if it's in the nav tag. Semantic HTML also provides better context about the content. And there's limited evidence, but growing and I'd say compelling evidence that using semantic HTML tags helps search engines and AI platforms understand the content just a little bit better and understand how that content relates to other content on a page. And that may help your page rank better in search results, earn better AI citations, earn better AI mentions, right? Again, that's not confirmed. It's by no means a ranking signal. It's indirect evidence at best that we have, but it seems to point in that direction. In particular, this has been suspected for years with H1 tags. The other benefit to semantic HTML is that it's easier to understand the code when you're debugging the code, right? Think about it. Would you rather step through dozens of div tags to find an issue in the HTML, or would you rather quickly find the header tag or the nav tag or the footer tag on a page, right? So it makes it easier for developers to go through and actually work on the code, which is going to have tons of benefits because it might actually mean that it's easier to implement other types of changes. Now, again, the big thing to remember here is that semantic HTML is not a requirement. It's not something Google is saying you have to do. Plenty of websites rank wonderfully without any semantic HTML tags. Other websites mix semantic HTML with non-semantic HTML, and that works great too. And even if you are using semantic HTML, it's not a guaranteed solution to earn rankings or citations or improve performance. That said, what I would recommend is utilizing semantic HTML as you redevelop your website or as you're building out new parts of your website. And by using semantic HTML, you typically don't have a lot of downsides. It can be a little hard to migrate from non-semantic to semantic HTML, but there are a lot of potential upsides for human visitors, for bots, for agentic visitors. If you have questions about semantic HTML, or if you need help working with semantic HTML on your website, let me know. You can email me at matthew@elementive.com. If you liked this video, please subscribe. Thank you for watching.